Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me. This is an animal spirit pick a card reading. So if you would go ahead and concentrate on the card that you feel drawn to. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go ahead and take a minute. If you want to pause the video, you can. I will include timestamps down below for these cards. And I just want to point out that these cards are so beautiful and they're so helpful in the way because animals themselves have messages. They are spirit, just like us, whether they come to us through the cards or in person. And I think it's always a gift to receive a message from an animal, whether it's come to us in person, even if it's something like a squirrel, even if it's something like a fly. There is a message behind every animal. They're just another one of God's blessings. So, with all that said, we're going to get started. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. We're going to start with number 1. Number 1 is the peacock. Very nice. So, the peacock represents air. And what's interesting with her is the colors, right? The outside appearance of her. It's very intriguing. It draws you in. But what's important to know with her is that her beauty is not just what's on the outside. Her beauty starts and it originates from within her. If you consider how you treat other people, that tends to be a direct reflection on how you treat yourself, right? So she allows the negative, lower vibrational type of emotions, anger, hurt, resentment. She doesn't harbor that. She accepts it for what it is, and then she lets it go. And on the inside, she is at peace with herself, and that is what shows on the outside. So for those of you that chose number 1, the peacock is encouraging you to consider, how are you dealing with things on the inside? Are you presenting your most authentic self? Are you projecting yourself in the way that is truest to your authentic self? Now, that doesn't mean she doesn't feel negative things, because she does. It's just her way of dealing with them that is shown outwardly. Okay, so there's a fine line here, you guys, between what she represents physically and non-physical, but her message definitely speaks on the non-physical. As within, so without. What's within her, she expresses authentically outwardly. So it may be something for you guys to evaluate. How am I feeling inside? How am I dealing with that? What am I putting out there to other people? What am I putting out to the universe? Because she's beautiful and she can handle anything, right? Just like you guys. Okay? Very beautiful message. All right. Starting with number 2. Number 2. The turtle. Very cool. So turtle represents water, but also too, you guys, a turtle can thrive on earth. A turtle will go from earth to water. And if you consider, these creatures are like old. They're really old. They represent ancient wisdom. And the thing with being old is that there is an acquired database, so to speak, that the turtle has. His database is an acquired collection of his life experience, and he uses that life experience to help himself to navigate through the water, to navigate through earth. His experience speaks of life's ups and downs and what he has learned from it. And what he wants you guys to do is to speak your experience. Don't look to someone else. Don't look for, the idea of like a self-help book comes to mind, which I'm all for them. But just know, you guys, look within. You have your own story to tell. You have your own experience. You have your own perception, and no one can tell you that that's wrong, because that is your perception. So he's speaking to you to feel at home with yourself, to trust your instincts. Dive deep and trust. Very beautiful message, you guys. All right, moving on to number 3. Number 3, the Phoenix. This is so cool. The Phoenix is one of the spirit cards of the deck. Now, the Phoenix is not considered to be a real creature like the turtle or the peacock, but in mythology, the Phoenix is very real. He represents the sun and fire. And interesting enough, what happens with him is he destroys himself, he burns himself, and he rises from the ashes. Now, why does he do that? This is about transformation. He knows when it's time for something to end, and he purges all of that. He destroys the old and unserving, and he creates himself again. So for those of you that feel drawn to the Phoenix, I feel like many of you are going through a stage of transformation. And to do that, we always tend to have to let go of something. And to figure out what that something is, you have to ask yourself, what am I holding on to that is no longer serving my purpose? What is holding me back? Because this is the time for purging. It's time to burn all of that negative, lower vibrational type of energies to the ground and to rise above. And when you do this, you will have clarity. There will be a lightness about it. He also speaks of that first chakra that we have, our root chakra, and that tends to be where we carry a lot of our heaviest karmas. So there's this nice cycle here with him that refers to karma, moving on, digesting the past, and getting ready to create yourself for the next chapter in your life. He also represents the consciousness, living consciously, being aware of yourself fully, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Very beautiful, you guys. All right, we're moving on. Number 4, the mouse. Very interesting little creature, mouse. He represents Earth. So if you consider first and foremost the size of the mouse, you see that he's small, he's low to the ground. His viewpoint is going to be more narrow focused. But the good thing about the mouse is he's very resourceful and he's very organized and he's always doing something. He's always preparing and getting fixing things. But the thing with him that can sometimes put him out of balance is when he is constantly scurrying about, putting his energy all over the place, or being so meticulous about things that he forgets or he can't see the overall picture. It's like that saying, can't see the forest for the trees, right? You're not looking at the overall picture. And for those of you that are experiencing a problem that you are trying to find a solution for, you may want to take a step back and consider the overall picture and evaluate your energy. Where are you putting your energy? Is it productive? Is it meaningful? Okay, so that's a little something to consider with him. All right, you guys. Last but not least, number 5. Oh my gosh. This is beautiful. Number 5 is the lizard. So lizard represents fire. And what's interesting with him is he is sensitive. He represents a person who may actually identify themselves as an empath, or someone who is very sensitive to external energies within their environment, coming from other people. So he's going to feel overwhelmed when he's been really busy. He's going to feel overwhelmed in big crowds of people. And what's important for him, for his own sanity, for his own well-being, he's got to retract from all of that outside noise every once in a while and come back into his own to regroup. He represents spirituality as well. And I believe that spirituality is key in being the best that you can be. right? Believing in something, believe in yourself, believe in just the goodness and the greatness of all and the universe and his self, right? He's about believing in himself, and he's about protecting himself, because he does have to set himself aside from the outside noise to be able to have a sense of peace, to be his best, because he is so sensitive. You know, he can see what is not being spoken, and he utilizes his sensitivity for the good. Okay? So what's interesting enough with him, and this is something that happens with sensitive people, with empaths, you know, sometimes when things are hectic, you don't really know where he is. And therefore, he appears to be a little flaky. But what people may not understand about him is he just needs a break every once in a while. Doesn't necessarily want to hurt anybody's feelings, step on anybody's toes. He just wants to kind of recluse a little bit. And if he doesn't want to, if he likes getting caught up in the busyness, he really needs to, because his inner spirit is calling to him to come inward and regroup a little bit. So for those of you busy people, he just really wants you to distract yourself from the outside with yourself. Okay? Pay attention to yourself, trust yourself, and have faith in your sensitive sensitiveness that you have about you, because it's beautiful. It's beautiful just the way that it is. You're beautiful just the way that you are. Okay? All right, you guys. I'm going to see if there's anything else I want to add. I love this. I love these cards. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you got something out of this. And if you have any questions, my email will be in the description box below. I wish you guys the very best, and many blessings to all of you. Peace.